Honestly, I love all the shapes.
Yeah.
I know that's a very, PC thing to say here. I usually play Perseus. So with a 4, it's a further development, not of the core deflection, but we're using other technologies to further create stability in the paddle. So our pros have been a huge part of the development of the paddles, and they love it, and we feel like the rest of the pickleball community will absolutely love it as well. Hi, my name is Richard Lee. I'm the CEO of JOOLA. Yeah, so it's a fun story. We acquired the JOOLA brands from the original German company in 2019. We had a lot of ideas, aspirations to build the brand. We refreshed the logo as a table tennis company, and then we hit the pandemic. Like everyone, everything got shut down, and we were actually pretty lucky. People were stuck at home, nothing to do, so they played table tennis. So we grew quite a bit during that time. However, for myself personally, I would usually go to play table tennis at a local club. Obviously, they're closed. So our sales guy at the time and myself, we decided, all right, we've had pickleball paddles, in the closet. We never tried the sport. Let's give it a try. So the first time we go out there, and there's 4 brand new courts behind our office that were just built. And as we go on the court, there's these 2 guys playing at a fast pace. They're wearing branded shirts, like uniforms, and we're like watching, like, wow, this is amazing. We didn't even know this sport really existed. And we find out who they are. We go back, we Google them. They're the #1 doubles pair in the world. It was Ben and Colin. The first time we go out there, so definitely intrigued me even more. I signed up for lessons at the Y. I met Eric White, which is one of our partnerships guys right now, and um, I started playing a lot. I bought every single paddle under the sun. Probably bought paddles from you guys too. And then I was like, I think I can do better than the products are on the market. So with the 15 years of manufacturing experience that I have had from table tennis, I started to explore that. After half a year, I took my development. I said, Eric, try this paddle out, and he tries like, this is pretty good. It's like, you want Ben to try? Like, Ben? I didn't even know he knew Ben. So he's like, yeah, let me call him up. So Ben gave it a try, and he's like, "It's pretty good, but I'm still an amateur player. Him coming as a pro player, he's like, I would make these changes." So after a couple more months, I created a new prototype, and I called him up and was like, "Hey, can you try this new paddle?" After trying, he's like, "I could use this in the tournament." So from there, he was looking for a new sponsor at the time, so it was like the right timing. We came to agreements, and then April 1, 22, that's when we jumped into the sport. We're very focused on the customer journey and the experience. We really want to be involved in the entire process for how people come into the sport, and as they grow, as they become a tournament player, as they become a pro, or even if they jump in and they want to be a coach. So from that perspective, we're involved in multiple areas of the sport, not just to sell paddles, but to really be like a catalyst for the growth of the sport. We're doing a lot internationally, as we see some countries are hitting the tipping point of the sport. Some countries are just starting out. So we're providing a lot of guidance to new companies that we set up as subsidiaries to our US-based company to see how we can help further develop the sport worldwide. So the delisting obviously was an unfortunate situation. As most people know, there is a lawsuit between ourselves and USA Pickleball, and that's still progressing. And last year, then we pivoted to launch our Mod TA15, which was the Gen 3 paddle as well. But then we also launched our 3S paddles. Those paddles are even a further development from the 3s. We call it the 3S because typically we don't want to launch more than one product a year or product range. So actually the 3S should have been launched this year. So we kind of accelerated all that. Moving into the 4, we are even further in our development. The 3S core was an it is uncompressed, and what that means is the PB core values and deflection values are completely stable. So with the 4, it's a further development not of the core deflection, but we're using other technologies to further create stability in the paddle. So we feel like these further developments are completely within range of the certification rules. And we feel like they've already passed all the rules and passed certification testing. We've double verified with them. Also in our QC/QA processes, we've added additional long-range testing. You guys were able to see some of the videos where we subject the paddles to 1,000 shots, 500 hits, 10,000 hits and further. So all these things are adding to an even more stable and even better product. I'd love for there to be more stability on the different organizations involved. I think there's needs to be more collaboration. It's not if you win, I lose. It needs to be that we all are working together to continue to build this sport. What happens if all this infighting suddenly causes the sport to lose favor with everyone? Right now we're in this hyper growth phase of the sport, but what happens if this confusion and people are just like, I don't want to be involved with a sport that has all these problems. So we hope there's more collaboration, people are working together, and so that there isn't this customer confusion. Right now, with the different standards between USAP and UPAA, we don't really have a choice but to create 2 different paddles. Otherwise, our pros are not getting, being competitive with potentially other brands or even amongst themselves. So all these things, there's just so much confusion. I would just love for it to just get to a more stable point. Yeah, so the new Pro 4 paddles are an evolution from our last year's 3S paddles. You're going to get more stability, you're going to get more balance on the paddle. It's slightly faster, fully certified by both organizations, and it's been validated by our pro players. They've been using this paddle and testing it since last year, and only recently we've handed it to them to be able to play in the tournaments. So our pros have been a huge part of the development of the paddles, and they love it, and we feel like the rest of the pickleball community will absolutely love it as well. All the way from the beginning. We don't bring them in at the last second. We're the halfway point. It is literally at the beginning when we say, all right, we're about to work on our next paddle. What do you like about your current paddle? What changes do you want? What other improvements do you want? We do market research. We look at competitors and see what else is on the market. And then from that point, they are fully involved in the whole process. And when we get prototypes, we send it to them, or they come to us, and we have test sessions. We take a bunch of notes, and we go back and further adjust, and we go through multiple phases of prototyping until they feel like, all right, this is good. So it is a deep partnership between ourselves and the pros.